Hey everybody, Pastor Vern for October 7th, 2020, as we travel through uncharted territory once again. We had a kind of interesting work this week as we are going to make some adjustments to worship so that we can have a larger group in one of the churches. We're going to move outside. Kind of enjoy that sometimes anyway, but we got some exciting things coming up, and so I wanted to touch base with that in Belgrade, if we're going to have church out in the park this week. I hope we get that all lined up. Got to make a couple phone calls, but we're looking at doing that. We are at our last book of the Bible in our daily update today, and then we're going to have to move on to some other things. I'm going to keep these going for a while, and we'll kind of see how this plays out. If we start getting a significant amount of views, we'll continue to do it. This is the book of Revelation. Now, a lot of times people say the book of Revelations. They put an S on the end, but that's not truly the way that we should read this book. The book is one revelation given to John, and in his waning years, visions that God had laid on him that him write about. Now, a lot of people, boy, I tell you what, there's a lot of churches, a lot of people, and they just kind of ignore the book of Revelation in a lot of ways, because a lot of people think the mystery, the symbolism, all that kind of stuff is just way too difficult to interpret. And it is difficult to interpret. It's difficult to preach, and so it doesn't get preached a lot, especially if we're using the lectionary, which I do a good share of the time. Readings from Revelation did not come up very often. It also is difficult, or a lot of churches, a lot of individual preachers, a lot of individual Christians don't like to deal with it because they don't like to deal with the concept of end times and judgment. All right. The book of Revelation basically tells us that end times started when Jesus ascended to heaven. Okay, at least that's my interpretation. And so this is called an apocalyptic book because it's going to be tremendous turmoil as Christ returns to claim the earth, according to John's writings. But I think one of the things that we really have to concern ourselves with is we need to read it. We need to try to work out through some of the symbolism of what's going on in the book of Revelation. But also, I think as members of the body of Christ, we need to pay particular attention to the end of the book. It tends to make things clearer. Now, the events that's going to happen, depending on your how you interpret the symbols, you can do a lot of stuff with that. I mean, it's been interpreted that the end times were several times throughout the history, that the quickening was going about, and that end times were going to be were at the next few moments, I guess. But we don't know that. We don't know when that's going to happen. In fact, the Bible tells us not to speculate on that. There's supposed to be certain signs and things that are going on that at times we've thought, yeah, that matches what the book says. Turned out at this point, we have not come to the culmination of that. I'm not saying that these things weren't part of the end times. It's just that this is in God's time, right? Maybe end times is going to last in human years a long time yet. Maybe you'll never see this if it happens quickly. I don't know. But the fact is, if we go to the end of the book, and it talks about the marriage of the Lamb and his church, Christ and his people, that is really the message that resonates at the end of the book of Revelation, the end of John's writings. Now, John was unique. I think he might have been he's one of the few of the original disciples who were not martyred. He lived to be an old man. God sent him this revelation towards the end of his life, I think probably is both a comfort to him and as a message to us. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up this segment of our daily updates. As always, take good care of yourselves. Watch out for others the best you can during this time of uncertainty, and be safe. Bye.